only games they won were the games where they had Naga Siren, and Naga Siren is going to get denied this time because it's got banned out.
Yeah, I was going to also mention that the Naga Siren and MSS's Timbersaw have been like their big standout ones that they've had great performances on, and VP did their homework. So right away they get rid of both.
I think Siren is just one of those heroes that actually disrupts the play that VP wants to play, you know. Just sleep, and I think more than viewers, Russians are probably some of the people that hate Naga Siren the most just because of what it does. They're probably like, this hero is so detrimental to the game. It's boring. 7 seconds where we're not fighting. What is that about? We don't want to do that.
I mean, diving versus a Naga too. It's like, oh god, we dove and she slept, and now we're all caught in a horrible position and we all die. So
someone realized we're in a like it gives them the time to realize that they're in a horrible position. Yeah,
exactly. So Shadow Demon and OD banned out from NP. No shocker. That's probably their two best. And yeah, the Ogre, probably one of the most prominent heroes we've been seeing. No, one of the most prominent support heroes that we've been seeing, other than Shadow Demon, just because of he just runs at you and he's in your face and.
It's just so hard to deal with, and it supports any lineup pretty well. Bloodlust is so good on anything.
On anything, yeah. Literally, it doesn't even have to be on your carries. Like it's like, okay, we just throw it on this Bat Rider, and he's just gonna be super fast, and you can't stop the lasso in time because of movement speed. He's stronger in lane.
It's actually just the movement speed more than anything. You know, a lot of people are talking about attack speed and such, but it's movement speed that causes Bloodlust to be so annoying to deal with.
At least in the early stage, like later on. Like, even I mean, the attack speed too. It's like it helps you push towers and stuff too. So it's like that kind of. It's like it's not a Jakiro or something that like really is like so like keen on pushing towers, but he really just benefits like all over in the draft. He does like everything.
And he doesn't die.
And he doesn't die.
He just walks up to you and punches you, and you can't do anything but run away.
Next patch, -1 armor.
-5 armor, hopefully. Like,
he has what's his starting armor again?
8.
5? 7? 8? Never mind that.
It's actually ridiculously high.
And he's got what 3.2 HP regen, 4 each. It's some like crazy amount. So people just. Yeah, you just get over venom and run it.
It's not hard to see what Ice Rock's favorite hero is.
Yeah.
Has to be Ogre.
It used to be Treant Protector.
Used to be. Well, he gave him lots of damage. He still does
he's like you. He hates Bloodseeker more than anyone. He must, with all the different changes he's done.
I was waiting for you to bring it up.
Dude, Bloodseeker though.
You hated it when they changed it. You were like, this hero's garbage.
But now I learned to play with it.
Yeah. So
it's great again.
Like, I think he's good. I think he's fun too.
So an early Sven pickup.
Very early Sven, and I guess Rubik is not so like out of the ordinary. Like NP really likes it. Some teams just really like favoring having it early.
I think a lot of lineups have had a lot of success picking up Rubik's.
Yeah.
We've also seen Imperial that we saw yesterday. They didn't play it yesterday, but in some of their previous successes, they've had a great Rubik. Actually, Rice has been playing superbly on it.
Yeah.
A player that not often receives a lot of credit for his play. Been playing one of the hardest support heroes to succeed on.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Sven pickup is pretty early. I'd say almost premature, especially because they're not gonna play up against a Bat Rider, and the obvious counter is banned out already. Other obvious counters could be banned out, and it's gonna be very hard to deal with the Bat Rider because it always is.
Yeah, I think that we'll probably see. What, like a Darkseer for NP? Like they want to go for maybe some like big combo type plays, and just because like we were mentioning it too. I don't know if this will maybe change up the way that they draft, but they have that ping advantage like we've been mentioning. So maybe they want to go for something that's just like a little bit straightforward, like a big team fight, big run at you, just not really having to like worry about like these like little small mistakes and these little things. Just like, okay, wombo combo, a little bit easier to work with.
Could also be the start of a push strategy where they would go for a Chen pickup potentially, or an Enchantress, and really just dominate the early stages of the game. Alternatively, a Wisp always complements well with a hero like Sven. I don't think they'll necessarily go for it though, just because Wisp Rubik is sort of an odd mixture of supports together.
And it doesn't, like, you can save someone from a lasso, but it's not the most obvious save that you can go for either.
It's a little bit more skill-based.
Yeah.
And with the recent nerfs too to the relocate timing, it actually makes it a bit more difficult. Like that 0.25 seconds makes a big difference.
Back to the ping disadvantage.
Yeah, and back to the ping that even delays it even more. So they go for
Eternal
Invoker.
Yep.
The only hero he's been playing for the past month.
I didn't really expect him to do that versus like Ogre as well on the side of VP, because what's this Ogre gonna do? He's gonna sit mid and he's just gonna punch him. And Invoker in laning phase, he struggles. Like versus a lot of heroes, he just has a bit of a rough time, at least in the first few levels. So that's
at the same time though, we've seen a lot of these when people do pick the Rubik, all he does is also sit around middle lane and just be disruptive. So I think they're feeling comfortable going up against whatever they're gonna meet up in middle lane, especially because the OD is banned.
Yep, that's It's a fair point. And now they, you know, with the Sven and the lift and everything, they have nice, easy setups for the Sunstrike. So even if his laning phase goes not the best, he can get that recovery.
Yeah, knowing he's just gonna, knowing most Invoker players, they're just gonna go back into the jungle and farm up that Midas and then continue to just try and snowball and get the gold lead and experience lead on him.
So with Invoker and Sven as their cores, which other core would be good there for NP?
Since
for NP,
it looks like VP is very heavily targeting MSS's bans because they banned out 3 of them already.
Yeah, it's the only thing they have to worry about now as well. You know, there's the offlane and another support.
But is there something that they're lacking that they need to cover with the core?
I think both teams right now could benefit a lot from both Chen and Wisp.
Okay.
I think they complement both these lineups so very well. So I wouldn't be surprised to see either one be picked up for either lineup.
Chen, Wisp, or maybe even Enchantress, I think. Because it helps a lot in the laning phase, maybe not so much for that push factor.
Enchantress is a lot more popular these days than Chen is, in part because of the nerf to
Not for Virtus Pro.
Not for VP.
Not for VP, yeah, that's true. But in part because of the nerf to creeps, they just die so very easily. They're much harder to utilize to perfection now compared to what they were before the change. As a Chen player, it's something I've hated a lot. Surely, do you all play Chen in pubs?
I used to play it a bit. Not in quite a while though.
Okay.
I liked him when he got changed, but I didn't like when they changed the Aghanim Scepter so you can't heal spam.
Yeah, that too.
That was the one thing that really hurt him.
I actually think the nerf has been too severe on him right now, where it's really hard to integrate Chen into most lineups unless the opponent is begging for it. Yeah. You know, a lot of lineups do beg to be pushed down. We saw it yesterday, where Ad Finem played up against Imperial and just didn't respect the power of their lineup.
Spirit Breaker. That's
this is interesting because normally you'd look at Virtus Pro and think, okay, they got Lil in the lineup. They might want to pick a Spirit Breaker or solo even.
Yeah.
2 players that's been renowned for playing a lot of Spirit Breaker, especially back in the meta where Spirit Breaker was great. Nowadays he's just, you know, he's situational. He can be used definitely, but he's not as dominant as he used to be a year or 2 ago. So it's interesting that NP picks it up.
It's nice BKB piercing lockdown for the Jug if he's spinning, so he can't just like spin TP ever. You can set up easy for Sunstrikes, go around the map like ganking.
Yeah. Doesn't mind ping disadvantage all too much.
Doesn't mind ping advantage. You're just like you're RNG based, and you can keep an eye on the Bat Rider.
Just right-click, hands on the keyboard, let's go.
Yeah, like if you charge the Bat Rider and he like, let's say he doesn't know you're charging him and he TPs and makes a smoke or something, he goes for play. You have the vision already for that, so that's pretty lovely. And on top of that, they have Warcry plus the Spirit Breaker aura, so they're going to be like running really quickly, obviously, at people. So
you play him as a 3 or as a 4?
A 4, I'd say, but in this lineup it might actually be a 3 with all the bans that have come out. Normally I'd say a 4 definitely, but because of the bans and we talked about earlier how MSS doesn't necessarily have any obvious pick right now.
Well, Void is still in the pool in terms of common offlaners.
Darkseer Void. They can put pressure on the safe lane a lot with Darkseer Spirit Breaker if they want to do something like that.
But I think they would have picked up the Darkseer now if that was their intention, right?
I think so, but maybe the Jug kind of like, maybe was like, maybe we don't want to reveal that our Darkseer's coming out so they don't pick like these 2 heavy counter picks like the Disruptor, because VP loves Disruptor and it's so good versus the Darkseer.
There's a Tidehunter still as well.
There is still the Tidehunter for MSS as well. That's a very good point. And it's a mech carrier, which they're still lacking.
Yeah. I don't think Void is the go-to hero, right? Especially after the Spirit Breaker pickup. They have a Sven already.
Yeah.
There's a bit of conflict of interest there. And then with the Spirit Breaker pickup, it's even worse, but then again, Invoker does justify a Chronosphere.
Okay, so what are we thinking here for Virtus Pro? Templar Assassin for no one.
Invoker TA matchup, as
we've seen it before.
Very often.
Yeah, and still Templar Assassin favored, especially if she has an Ogre Magi punching Invoker for her.
And it gives them like this, like we said, like VP's a team that at least when I was casting them and watching them a lot in the qualifiers, they built for late game. Majority of their games, they're like, okay, we have this like mid-game push lineup, but we're gonna have the late game secured no matter what happens. So they have Bloodlust on Juggernaut and TA now, which is very powerful. Not sure if it's enough because of how much damage the Sven actually can deal out if he gets farmed up, and the lockdown from Spirit Breaker on top. But still, it's very strong, especially when they have the better initiation still now definitely. With the Bat Rider.
But going back to the laning states, we talked about this earlier, how Rubik and Invoker could stand their ground against Ogre +1.
Yeah.
Now that's a problem though, because there's a Bat Rider on the off lane.
Yep.
So Rubik needs to stay in the lane, especially with the Spirit Breaker pickup, who's going to run around all the time and can't really deal with the Bat Rider anyways. Meaning that Spirit Breaker can't assist much on the middle lane against Ogre TA with an Invoker backup as the only thing. So Virtus Pro is always already in a position where they're going to win the middle lane, just because TA is already favored against the Invoker, and then with the Ogre backup,
VP goes for the Wisp themselves, and they do ban the Darkseer, so if NP did want something like that, it is taken out.
Yeah, but this is just a classic VP lineup.
Yeah,
you know, it
really
just
is.
benefits their playstyle so much. It complements everything that they want to achieve.
You know what's actually kind of interesting thing about maybe NP with the Spirit Breaker, because I'm assuming this is a support unless that Darkseer ban like completely just changed the way NP wanted to do it. Maybe they were trying to do like, okay, this Ogre's going to sit mid, right? So we're going to have the Rubik come and a Spirit Breaker charge on top. That's a potential way to kill the Ogre if he's being too obnoxious in the mid lane,
yeah,
but you're
definitely.
committing a good amount for that.
You are.
Is that enough damage? Like
Well,
all you have to do
I'm
is
not level 1, but like level 2. more
yeah,
than
but
likely
all
with
you
Cold
have to
Snap.
do is have a smart ward. You see him charging, and then
What if you smoke?
Ogre walks. Yeah, okay, but then you still know that there's a Spirit Breaker missing.
But the way to deal with VP is definitely go toe-to-toe with them in
Oh,
early
yeah,
engagements and get as
yeah.
many kills as they do, and just continue to hopefully snowball as much as they do. Because if at any point in time, if you...
Up Hadden.
That's interesting.
It is a hero that saves people from a lasso.
Yeah, the range
Still.
is not the greatest. The
No.
cast point is also kind of crappy.
In
Yeah, he's
theory, though,
resistant
it's
nerf, right?
possible.
Yes, it's been nerfed. Not
Yes.
recently, but it's been nerfed in the past, like pretty kind of recent, like 6 months, I'd say 8 months.
With the battle last pick, who do you favor?
I'm liking VP's lineup.
Yeah.
I think it's just
We're all on the VP
Virtus
train.
Pro definitely, but the Abaddon is that kind of ace in the hole card that could put NP ahead if they position themselves properly.
yeah,
Okay.
and they have a pretty strong duo. Like if they do want to do the Abaddon Spirit Breaker offlane, how Wisp if the Wisp Jug is down there, like that's kind of hard to deal with.
That's a
Sure, the
tricky
spin is hardcore and everything on it, but Abaddon with Curse of Avernus with the Spirit Breaker whacking on you with a Jug, you can't spin away and run. So
No, might force the
could be
Ogre
interesting.
bottom as well,
Yeah,
helping mid a bit.
trying to
but,
force
uh,
reactions for sure.
We're gonna find out who's gonna take this first game. It is NP versus Virtus Pro with OD Pixel and Gods.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the ASUS ROG DreamLeague casting desk. I'm OD Pixel. I'm here with Gods, and we're ready to get you through the first game of the day. Let's get ourselves into this one, ladies and gentlemen. It is, of course, VP up against NP. We've heard from the panel, and we heard from ourselves before. We were thinking, all right, we feel that VP is going to have the edge in this series. Do you think that's shown as well in the draft here, or is there kind of some things you like about NP's lineup?
Definitely like some things about MP. I don't think they've lost the draft, but similarly, I don't think they've won the draft in any kind of way that's going to tip the balance in their favor. No one on a mid lane TA versus Invoker should do very well. We'll see, and that's with an Ogre as well. So I think the Ogre plus TA versus an Invoker in the mid lane is an absolute massacre if NP aren't ready for it. NP are going to be looking just for the very stable, one of AUI's best heroes, the Sven in the safe lane, to be kind of their rock to carry them through the mid to late game. The Abaddon's a bit of an unusual pick. I'm curious to see how much it can get done. Maybe kind of a dual lane setting with the Spirit Breaker can be very pesky to deal with, but Jug IO, pretty good sustain. If Ogre really needs to, he can rotate down bottom. Lil can help out bottom lane as well as mid, so I think across the board, VP have the answers they need for NP.
We're going to see both sides. Not going to fight around the rune spot. Just Pasha laying down a few stacks. Well, actually, he's looking towards Envy.
Some damage.
It's got to be a little careful. SVG maybe seeing if he could get a lift up, but yeah, we're sorry they're backing up Pasha. Unlikely that MP could do anything to punish that. But yeah, in terms of the lanes, as you said, this bottom lane, Ogre at the moment, Lil maybe looking to sit around with Ramses. We see Solo on the IO actually heading up top to potentially duel up with the Bat Rider. I mean, how much pressure could this Abaddon put onto this Juggernaut? Should the Jug be fine in this lane?
Jug should be fine.
Yeah.
Just Abaddon alone is like, you could actually like 1v1 this lane, not to say you want to do that as a support. I imagine we'll see Lil kind of linger around, do some pulls, get some levels in farm. He's actually is going to be this kind of safe lane Ogre. Decides that no one at mid on the TA doesn't need his help, which is pretty true, and TA does just fine, straight 1v1 against an Invoker. And of course no one, probably the best mechanical CIS mid player at the moment, so he's definitely going to feel confident in his 1v1 abilities here.
Yeah, and I guess level's pretty crucial as well. You know, no one getting that early XP.
Yep. Yeah, that's actually a good point. You don't maybe want to be splitting your XP with an Ogre if you don't need it. If you're in a 1v1 where it's like the help is going to make a big difference, sure, but it's a 1v1 where you already feel like you've got an edge. Envy's already chewed through a Salve and a Tango, and he has 1 CS, so this is already a very poor start for Jackie on the mid lane Invoker. It is tough. Something we mentioned about with this mid lane matchup being very crucial for this matchup is the ping disadvantage, and that's somewhat being shown here with the CS early on.
Absolutely. Yeah, they're just that slight difference, which in some matchups might not you know, it costs quite a big difference. Definitely, when it's Envy against no one, it's gonna every little thing matters. Every
it's
little
such
thing matters.
this is one of those players that you just can't beat unless you're on the top of your game in terms of CS. Not to say this is going to cripple NP totally. It's not like you lose the game just because the mid lane is one side in CS. NP can always fall back to the jungle. You're always going to go in that Midas build, so the catch-up naturally kind of presents itself. We saw similar things from Invokers yesterday as well, where they have a really bad laning stage but still have a big impact once they exit that laning stage. So it's not all hope is lost for the NP fans out there just because of this mid lane.
Yeah, but it really, really is. Indeed, it doesn't
keeps
look
getting worse and worse.
It doesn't look pretty, but
He's got
as you
4
said,
CS
it's
now, but when you have to buy a second salve this early on and you're not actually getting farm, like if you're trading regen for farm, it's one thing, but he's trading regen just for XP at this point. The farm is not going with the regen.
Yeah, and down in the bottom lane, Ramses finding the same CS as
All right,
Zowie up top. MSS actually going in pretty aggressively, giving Ramses. He's got another
the
aphotic
salve,
shield.
yeah.
I guess he won't dive.
I mean, that looks like some good pressure, but realistically, Jug's like just trying to find an opportunity to use the salve.
Solo.
It's top lane,
Yeah, take it down.
Okay.
MP picking themselves up. The first blood. As Solo just slightly out position, getting a bit aggressive. And a lot of lockdown and control among these 3 heroes on the side of MP. So very much ready for a fight if it kicks off. And squishy old IO, very susceptible to being bursted down by these cores.
Yep. Nice little kill for NP. Feels like the kind of kill they need to have happen in the lane stage because they're not going to come out on top in terms of raw CS by any means. And AUI, his lane is being somewhat contested, so it's a bit annoying to see. I mean, there's 3 heroes up here. VP are just like, our Jug's fine 1v1. This is kind of what I mentioned, where Jug doesn't actually need the support to verse in Abaddon by any means. If he can beat Abaddon to level 6, he actually has some good kill potential on this lane before Abaddon hits his borrowed time, and you're always going to be able to farm with just the one value point in Healing Ward, the Poor Man's Shield plus Quelling Blade. It's a lane where he's going to free farm away. Just means Abaddon can actually be kind of annoying if he doesn't have the support presence.
Still in this mid lane matchup, the numbers not looking great at all for Envy. And it's not just really just the last, it's the fact that the denies are coming through from no one as well.
Yep.
Holding Envy back in regards to levels, and indeed we can see there's about, there's a full level between these 2 heroes now at this stage of the game.
No one will find a bounty rune. Some kill potential when he hits level 6 on TA. There's not going to be any Ghost Walk or anything along those lines for Envy, and that's where he'll definitely have to have protection. So we'll see what's it going to be. Treads, Phase Boots. It goes for the Ring of Aquila for now on TA. Sometimes you'll see like a fast Phase Boots if you really want to go for the kills, but it's a bit kind of all-in-ish. The Treads is just better for farming Ancients and being able to tread toggle between using your spells. So for now, he just wants the early game ring to boost up this laning stage of his. But Abaddon, 12 CS against Jug's 25, so even though MSS has a 1v1 as an Abaddon, it's not really translating to a 1 lane. But with Blade Fury on cooldown, there's a charge coming in.
Yep, they could go for an attempt on a kill here indeed. He has a healing ward. The question is if the bash has come through. MSS ready to dive in deep with 1437, a good bash. There we have Blade Fury coming back off cooldown, and with that Ramses, he'll be fine. So, they're trying to work around having that cooldown down on the Blade Fury, but can't quite finish him off before it comes back up.
Yeah, decent attempt, but couldn't quite get the follow-up there. They TP'd in Rubik SVG, perhaps if he TP's a bit earlier, so they have that disable from telekinesis to pull him back. Could have been a bit different, but NP just didn't quite have the damage needed. That's one of the things with this Abaddon on the offlane is he doesn't necessarily do that much actual damage output when the aphotic shield, unless you're proccing like 2 aphotic shields in a row. It's a lane where you're not really all that scary to verse. Ramses has his healing ward out, so he's farming just fine. He's level 6. He's bottom lane. Thought about going for a dive there, but couldn't quite get in range.
Yeah, Ramses very much ready to use that Omni, and ideally before MSS hits the 6.
And MSS doesn't want to be zoned out with this wave of XP at his tower. Ramses similarly, Phase Boots wants to charge in, and he's looking for the kill.
Yeah, MSS in trouble
He needs
here.
1 CS. This range creep will get him. He's fine. He'll live.
Yeah, he's got it.
Yeah.
And Ramses
He
realizes.
still he doesn't realize.
He doesn't realize. Yeah. He does not realize that the 6 was just hit on MSS.
That was a sick bait from MSS, and not sure if he can turn it around.
They've got Blade Fury.
Yeah.
So with that, it looks like he will be fine. In fact, he's going in aggressive on MSS.
He's still got a healing ward here. He gets the, I think he mangoed the IO there, so he got double mana for himself. Well, not double, but he got extra mana for himself. So, big boost to his mana, and suddenly he's full HP and full mana, despite using Omni / Blade Fury and getting low on HP, he's back to full. That's the beauty of the IO. Nice bit of mango play there with the tether, and VP stabilize his bottom lane. Yeah, you don't get the kill, but Jug is still free farming away and just has to play around Omni / being on cooldown now.
Yeah, and of course, CS across the map, top 3 all on the side of VP, and it's still that mid lane where the numbers looking quite fantastic for no one on the TA. 49-21 at 7 minutes in. It really feels like he hasn't missed a creep with those kind of numbers at this early on in the game.
He has a quadruple stack at his Ancients as well, so...
Damn, that's going to be a scary
tough.
TA.
Yeah, that's brutal. It's very, very farm TA coming our way. That's where he'll really pull ahead in terms of farm and XP.
I just been interested to see what he opts for this game. He's picked up the Blightstone. What's he got on the anything? I mean,
it's really either Blink Deso or Deso then Blink.
Yeah, which order? Yeah.
I really can't. I feel like the Blink is generally the more commonly bought approach, just because you can go more aggressive with it, whereas Deso you don't have that initiation. So with the Blink Dagger, you can you farm just as fast really because you can blink around, and you've got that Blink catch potential with Meld Strike. So I prefer seeing the Blink, but I don't really know for sure, like based on playing the TA, when you go which build. But imagine for mid lane or Pasha, Smoke coming in, looking for Envy. The trap slows him down.
Knocking it back with a flame break into the lasso, and Envy taken down. Of course, first kill for VP, but it's a big one. Further pushing Envy behind in this game where he already was suffering massively in this mid lane. 65 CS on no one, as you said. There's this Ancient stack as well.
He's about to farm it.
This has got to be one of the biggest TAs we've seen in competitive Dota. 8.5 minutes in, it's ridiculous.
It's a bit reminiscent of Thug's TA that we saw in the qualifiers, where he went mid against Miracle of Liquid, where he just got out of control in TA. We're seeing a similar thing here with No One's TA. Seems like this hero's kind of just re-emerged in the meta.
And I mean, it's a very fun hero to watch.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's a very high skill hero, because essentially it is a squishy hero. I mean, obviously you've got the refraction, but you know, one misplay and TA can get absolutely punished.
Yep.
So it's very satisfying watching a good TA play.
But yeah, this Ancient stack going to be easily farmed. A bit of farm and XP at the mid lane being missed out on, but not the end of the world. AUI going to try farm his Ancients, so both teams just kind of mirroring one another as far as playing. This is feeling like more like the farming efficiency game for now, but VP are getting way more out of it just because of mid lane.
Yeah.
2k net worth to the 5k net worth TA. So even he's doing more than double. Like at this point, if you're stomping your mid, you're doubling his net worth, but he is that and a half. So he is crushing Envy. Jackie is having a rough time and not looking like that's going to change anytime soon.
Yeah, this TA, of course, just going to be able to do so much more for the team before Envy gets properly online with his Invoker.
You asked about the build. It will be the Deso first. The pros of this is more that you can push buildings a bit earlier on because you've got the Deso damage to just siege, and if you've got this strong 5-man with Healing Ward, with the IO, you can just siege down towers and not care about having the Blink initiation. And you can kind of look to just chase down heroes as needed using traps, but you have a little less chase potential, but you trade that for more early game DPS.
Yeah, and I guess in terms of the heroes around him, he has Bloodlust and Ignite to help close gaps, Lasso and Relocate. So a lot of ways you can get the TA into the right position.
Yep. VP playing this early game very passively, but it's kind of one of those things where VP is not really a passive team as a whole. Like I wouldn't say that's their playstyle, but when you're winning the lanes this hard, why go for kills when you're just out-farming your opponents?
Oh, nicely done up top.
Yeah, it's nice kill, but realistically, like you're still dominating the lanes. And I think VP feel that with how farm their TA is and how much their bat has Tranquil's drums. Like that's a ridiculous amount of farm for an off-lane bat at 10 minutes in. So I'm sure VP's looking at this lane stage like we're free farming all 3 lanes. They've actually free farmed 3 lanes. Io's jungling with spirits. They're winning 3 lanes plus farming the jungle. They are crushing NP right now, even without getting kills at all.
Yeah, obviously the strength at the moment for MP is in Aoi. He is still up there. He's ahead of Ramses, but there's a lot of weight on his shoulders. Top lane, talking about the man. The tower getting denied in front of his nose, and himself to fall as well. And obviously that is the pain for MP, because that is the hero that they're relying on. They're relying on Aoi to carry them through this game on this one.
Challenged in bottom though.
Did they get away with a little kill? Falling low, but the Omni Slash coming in on the back lines. Ramses.
And they can't even get
Lil.
Lil.
Second hero. MSS does have the ult, so they'll be able to tank up some of the tower hits. It's a good, decent amount of heal, but they'll just chase this forward. Ramses getting in position with the Blade Fury. They get the Abaddon. It's a triple kill for Ramses. And in fact, with that charger, can they get 1-4-3-7 now? Looks like he's a little too speedy. They can't chase him down, but giving Ramses a triple kill, that's dangerous territory here for MP.
It's not good. Envy still, no minds. We'll be about 12, 13 minutes in. I've seen like Invoker games where they've struggled and had these 12-minute minuses and still gone on to like get top net worth though.
Absolutely.
So it's
Envy
not.
can catch. It depends how quickly this game starts to fall out of control.
Envy's definitely behind, but he's not like miles behind. The thing is, TA is miles ahead.
And he's
It's
got
more.
Desert.
It's more where the TA is. You don't get any more farm than this when it comes to playing TA. Invoker, like this is just a slightly bad game. This isn't like Envy's been. He's not 0-3 with like 20 CS. He's got 45 CS. He's only died once. That's like acceptable for an Invoker start. But yeah, TA is. It's going to feel like it's unacceptable just because of how farm TA is.
Yeah, and I know how much no one can do in comparison to what Envy can offer with the tools that he's got at this stage of the game. Just 12 minutes in.
Smoke up on VP. Probably want to fight around the Deso of TA. You don't want your TA getting ganked at this stage. He's top of the net worth. It's a big bounty to feed away. So I imagine they will linger around this mid lane. They are heading to the Dire jungle, so kind of helping protect the mid lane by finding a kill. And it looks like mid isn't even being defended.
It's going to be a very
Radiant
quick
scan
blink
being used,
follow-up as well for no one. But at this rate, he's already on 1400 on top of the Deso. And they may just find themselves a bit of action. They got a lasso onto 1-4-3-7. He'll turn with a quick charge, but they got the Fire Blast holding him in the Firefly. He doesn't get the chance off for the Nether Strike. As that is going to be 1-4-3-7 falling down. Another kill for VP as they sit 5 for 2. And both of their big cores, Ramses and No One, sitting at the top of the charts for the moment.
Brutal stuff. Looks like they'll TP IO Jug home. They're ready to relocate though, so potentially see a IO Jug relocate somewhere on the map. But no, they're just going to walk back to lanes. They leave the TA mid. And the thing is, TA can push mid with just one hero behind because if they go in TA, they will be that IO +1 relocating in. So it's really hard for MP to find pickoffs. Often you're in this really bad position. You're getting out farm. You're losing the early to mid game. You want to go for smoke plays where you smoke up, find a kill, and back off. You don't want to take team fights when you're at 9 disadvantage. But doing that against teams with IO, there's such a high risk involved. So NP are kind of trapped, just continuing to try and farm or go for a riskier smoke play. They will take the riskier approach, which at this point you're far enough behind that it's probably justified, and they need to try and ideally get kills off of this. A T1 tower by itself is not really going to change the state of this game, but it is at least better than nothing.
Yeah, they want to try and get Aoi involved. Helm of the Dominator, Echo Saber finished. He's got level 11 as well. Having that second point at Godstrike can make all the difference. Mid lane though, No One putting the pressure in. TPs will come through. A charge as well onto the TA. No One could be in trouble here. Telekinesis back. They have the stolen Blade Fury from SVG doing a lot as well. He'll meld up. They've got the vision, that's the question. In fact, well, they're bringing Ramses in, so No One should be fine. He gets charged by 1-4-3-7. They've already lost the Rubik. Now with the lasso onto Aoi. Omnic Slash coming through. Lots of bounces onto MSS. He has the ult, so he'll be fine for the time being. They've managed to take solo. They'll turn with the Fire Blast onto Envy. The Photic Shield allowing him to walk off. No One trying to chase. With the War Cry as well. Envy a little too tanky for No One to deal with. Actually, oh, he looks for the side blades and he finds it though. Oh, your armor ain't going to do anything against the pure damage of that beauty. And now surrounding Aoi, Ramses taunting him, kiting him up. Aoi, can he get a kill? He will with the Echo Saber, but loses his life as well. No One surviving through it all, and just getting so much done in that fight, and just beautiful usage of the side blades. One of the things that Warcry is not going to counter.
Yeah, he backed off wisely. Realized that the heroes were a bit far away, but there was a creep wave in between him and the heroes, so he may as well just bounce those attacks right off of them onto NP. Killing off the Invoker and then follows up with the Abaddon kill. Really nicely played. NP did what they could. When the relocate came in, Envy made sure to focus solo first with the forward spirits plus his right-click damage. He killed the Io very fast, which did limit VP's sustain as well as their ability to chase, but the TA not dying at the start of that fight just meant that no one was always going to just go ham that fight. There was nothing they could do. They had no answers for him. And it's only going to get harder as he picks up his next item, as he's already up to 2k gold.
Manta on Ramses, it is proven to be a tricky one for MP. And as you said, a lot of it does come out down to how well the mid lane went for No One. which, of course, you have to attribute a little bit down to the ping issues, but also to the fact that I think, on paper, Envy, one of his weaker points may be in the laning phase, especially in heroes like Invoker. Obviously, he's come absolute leaps and bounds in how good his Invoker is with the practice, the hours that he's put in playing the hero. But still, when you put it up against someone like No One on TA, that it's been this man's bread and butter for absolute years in Dota.
Yeah.
And you start to see this kind of performance come out.
It's one of those things where the ping maybe had a small influence, but it wasn't the deciding factor by any means.
Because No One is such a good mid laner.
Yeah. It's always going to be a matchup where the TA wins the CS battle against the Invoker. And with No One, like, I think the player matchup is Envy's strength isn't so much his laning mechanics. It comes like strategically in the mid to late game is where he's good.
Yeah, and his shot, his shot calling.
Yeah, his shot calling is absolutely amazing most of the time.
And incredibly entertaining.
Yeah. Oh, SVG. Oh. He's got an invis. They know he's there. They'll pop him out, and that meld not going to work for you. With an Aegis, VP could threaten high ground. They've got the sustain from the healing ward if they bring in the IO plus Jug, but does mean they'll only have the IO there for 10 seconds, so it's not the ideal way to try and 5-man push a high ground. If anything, switching it up to the mid lane. Dire Ancients is a double stack. They can play the farm game. And again, you're at that point where if you're pushing high ground with TA with 4K in the bank, it's not really a 12K net worth TA, it's just like a 8.5K net worth TA. You may as well spend this money before you go for that high ground push. You've still got 4 minutes left on the Aegis. You're in no rush. No One's just kind of in that position where it's like, what item do I get? It could be anything. You could get a Moonshot, you could get a Daedalus, get a Butterfly, you could get a BKB. Any item is good.
It really, with Solo on the team on the IO, it feels like he doesn't really need the BKBs because Solo is there to help him out in situations. They've got the vision with the walls down. They see Envy on his own, and that'll allow Pash to get the quick jump and pick off. And it is just, at this point, incredibly scary for MP. If VP coming hard down whichever lane they want to, 5K in the bank and No One. It's getting incredibly out of control. Aoi now has a Blink Dagger.
That's the one item NP were perhaps waiting for to give them a small glimmer of hope in any kind of a team fight, but it's still Aoi versus the world. He's got some good control from his teammates as well as utility, like a Vlad's on Abaddon with the Aphotic Shield able to purge off some of the Batrider spells is nice, but...
And actually he goes for the Manta style on
Sure. Again, any item works. It's not really a...
Yeah.
At this point, there's no obvious best item because you're just so far ahead. Any item is good. Anything, it's stats, it helps you push.
Now we get in the jump in, but immediately the Fire Blast out in response. He's trying to make a beeline for Solo. Will be able to take down the IO, but the turnaround comes as Ramses with the Omni Slash. They've brought down 1437. No One takes a double kill. This could start to get messy for MP. No One. Can he get himself anything more? MSS has the ult. Will back off. There'll be a buyback from 1437. And there we have No One jumping in again. Looking towards MSS. MSS just getting himself away. No One held back by the tornado from Envy again. The charge through, but the Fire Blast stopping at 1437. He'll be taken down. He's going to be out for 30 seconds alongside Aoi, and No One jumping in for more with the trap slow, pushing them in. Envy saved only just by the Aphotic Shield, but MP forced back the base. No One, can he get himself out of this one? He's still got the Aegis, so he'll still be all right whatever happens. He's got the backup as Solo. He'll be healed back. In fact, he just jumps in and takes SVG's life. 16-5, 20 minutes in. VP running away with this.
He doesn't even have the Manta style on him. Now he finally gets the Manta. He was actually pushing without that net worth. I mean, that's kind of overconfidence from VP, but rightful overconfidence because they've just walked away with this game. They didn't even need the TA to spend like 7K in net worth. The Manta plus 2.5K in the bank was not even spent by No One when they went for this push. It was just a lineup that could not be stopped.
Oh, man!
He died with ulti on.
The meld burst damage was so much that it went over the threshold.
While popping his ultimate.
You still heard it.
I don't know.
I guess the ult must have a bit of a cast point, and he just died before the cast. But I definitely heard the dong.
If you use like Laguna Blade or something, you can burst the Abaddon before it goes off.
Yes, because it's a threshold that if you do it, it's like... I don't think, actually not like anything else. No, it's just that ult, yeah.
It's the nail. I mean, that sums up that game. Abaddon couldn't even ulti. You think the ultimate is auto-cast, but no, but you're getting stopped so hard the ultimate stops working.
The ultimate gave up. It was just like that. Yeah, this ain't saving this game. But yeah, pretty brutal. And of course, there'll be those, people at home, MP fans going, it was the ping. But the thing is, when the matchup goes this heavily one-sided, you gotta give credit to VP because VP are just an incredibly strong team at the moment. And even if they were, say, on the same server, on the same content, I think, you know, it's still going to be a tough game for MP.
I think it's like 10% ping, 45% draft, 45% outplay. Like that's to me how I allocate something like this. It's
Because no one's TA. As you said,
Good
already
stuff.
the matchup on paper, TA versus Evoker, you're expecting the TA to have a good start at the beginning. And then, I mean, no one just ran away with it. The team played perfectly around him. You're having those ancient stacks up. It was pretty brutal for MP.
Yeah, fun little game. VP just putting on a clinic of how to win games fast. That's always a good thing. A lot of the teams struggle to end the games when they get off to a good lead. We saw that with Escape yesterday, where they had these big leads, 2 games in a row against that Finham, which they then dragged to be like 50, 60 minutes. But VP showing us how it's done.
Absolutely. And we're going to see it again. There's going to be a game 2. We'll see if MP are able to switch it up, try something a little bit different to help themselves bring down this CIS absolute masterclass of a team VP. But very convincing performance from Versus Pro. We'll see more in a bit. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen, here at the ASUS ROG Dream League. We'll head over to a short ad break, back to the panel, and then back to me and Gods. We'll see you in a bit.